Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of the Quickview series. It is, as one would anticipate, as I think, geez, it's got to be 60-70% of all Quickviews are tires, because the only point of interface between your rig and the ground is the tire. The tire is eminently important. Today, another Injora offering, and while this is not an S5 house, it's also not a Predator house. S5 as a compound, it does the thing, right? But before we get any further, it is 46 degrees inside this building, and it is about 40 degrees outside. By the time we get into the thick of it, we will be in the heart of Predator weather. It rained yesterday and the day before, so the rocks are going to be clean. It's cold out there. These are going to do as well as they will ever do. If you take them out and it's too dry and it's 85 degrees, things are going to get a little greasy. That is the general disclaimer for all S5 tires. The Injora S5 Cling On, which is, I don't know if it's a good name or a terrible name. We have completely separated side lug. We have a undoubtedly rupture-inspired center lug, but we have the traditional Injora stuff, which is, they only make tires, they call it, we're not metric on the sidewall, 4.75 by 1.65, and because it is an Injora, of course, we're putting an Injora inside of it. Because, right over here at the end of the bench, are the foams that come with them. These are okay. These are all right. Most of the foams that come with the Injoras, whether they S5, S4, or S3, so Comp Pins, Swamp Claws, King Trekkers, all those, they come with a foam that isn't bad. And in the case of many of them, the foam is as good as it gets. That has been one of the problems that has been exhibited by the Injora tires. So these are going out to test on these because we have a reasonably uniform thickness carcass. They are belted, which is a choice. Very sticky on the compound. S5 out of the package is very sticky and has that real weird smell to it. We've seen good performance from S5, S4. I had made an appeal to the heavens where I yelled into the sky, and after the release of where's the wheel? Of all the Injora tires in S3, which S3, not great. If you're in a particularly high grip environment, you can get away with S3, but S3, if I was putting it up against something quote unquote mainstream, I would put Injora's S3 up with RC 4-wheel drive's X2 S3, which is a compound that works on rare occasion and never else. We have zero directionality. This is a single mold. The left and the right are just the same tire. The other three of these mounted up with great ease. I had no mounting issues at all. In fact, I mounted one of them, because I do that every time I mount the 4, with no bubble juice. The liquid that I am applying to the tire, which is one of the most common comments that I get below the videos is, what is the juice you're putting on the tires? This is a Dauber bottle. You can see a little bit of foam at the top. This is bubble juice. I used to apply it with a paintbrush, and then I was like, Dauber bottles are a thing. It really expedites the process. And to harp on a harp that I've harped in the past, someone in a comment went the other way. This is many moons ago, but, some things stick in the mind. I've mounted this many tires over this amount of time, and I've never had to use bubble juice. Great! Good for you. Did you see how easily that went together? Why wouldn't I use bubble juice? I mount at least one set of tires a day. It is quite early in the morning right now, and I've already mounted 3 sets of tires today. So yeah, I use bubble juice. Now, as you saw, no drama. Money, woof. Wipe that off a little. Now, S5 can absolutely do the thing. And let me see. Let's see if we can get it into... We'll do it like this. So, these three I mounted, not altogether too long ago. We only need to do the mounting process on one. Will one pick up the other? Yeah, there we go. Not that this is particularly indicative of anything, but it's nicer to see than a tire that throws down a hard Starsky. The Starsky, for the uninitiated, is when you take a really bad tire and you go like this on this mat. See how it makes... We might as well be using a broom. Makes no sound. I wish that I had a terrible tire hanging here on the rack so that we could exhibit it. They will make the sound of a car chase in the parking garage in the 1970s. The tires will go... We've really only had one tire that Starskied and sort of did okay, but ordinarily, if the tire makes a big racket on the mat, it's just not going to do well. These are going to do well. Where they land on the board is yet to be determined. We will find out. The rocks will determine that. And no matter how well these do, and this is the problem, this is the problem inherent to the S5 compound. No matter how well these do, they cannot and will not replace the S4 comp pin in the fleet. Because I live in an S4 environment. It is peak winter right now. We are actually in between two storms. It is Southern California, so it does not get particularly cold at any time of year. An overnight low around 35 is probably about as cold as we see in a typical year. But in the summertime, and we have a whole lot more summer than we do winter, it is not uncommon to see overnight lows in the 70s, and or if it's real bad, overnight lows in the 80s and 90s, and daytime highs in the 100 and teens. And at that point, tires like this are rendered functionless because rocks do a pretty good job of holding on to the daytime heat. So long after the sun has gone down, surface temperatures can still be 80, 90, 100 degrees. The rocks will pass 150 degrees during the peak of the summer months. Basically, no tire works at that point. But even at night, if you fire up the canyon lights and you go out under cover of darkness, it's still too hot. S5 and Predator are like this. They have a lot of grip. We will see maximized grip out of these tires right now. But if we fast forward in time to the heart of the summer, they just stop working. So, don't be overwhelmed by the performance you see right now, because this will be as absolutely good as it gets. If you live in Phoenix, Arizona, S5 is not for you. If you live in Fez, Morocco, Morocco is almost at the exact same latitude of where the canyon is located. You don't live in the S5 neighborhood. Now, if you live in Minnesota or Michigan or Norway or Finland, Scotland, S5 is probably your jam, particularly as these are more commonly available outside the United States, as a genuine rupture is more difficult to obtain. And the thing that we never can discount, what is fitted to this vehicle right now is $25 a pair for the tires, $16 a pair for the inserts, and I think I paid about $25 for the wheels. So we're talking a full combo wheel tire insert, like $70. There are many, many, many tires on the open market right now that 4 tires will cost you $70. Then inserts and wheels are up to you to figure out. Hopefully we've got this all figured out. We've done a tire test protocol once or twice in the past. The Injora S5 Cling On. Still can't tell if it's a bad name or not. It's going to head out to the rocks, and it's going to hopefully show us what it's got. So as we make it out towards the rocks, there is, you can see what it looks like. The bits of the fence that aren't dried out yet. There used to be a little puddle right there next to him. I broomed that out of the way. We will get to watch rocks dry in real time as some of the obstacles, dead limit over there is already into the sun. The morning sun is already hitting it, and you can watch the faces dry out. You see the middle of Slick Rock here already dry. This is not enough superficial moisture that it should impact the performance of the tires. We have to give a pass or two because tire insert relationship is developed over time. I gotta say, I can tell, I can tell a lot from those first few moments. That first punch up Slick Rock, I take a lot away from that. And it's that added advantage. I mean, compared up against anything else, when you're talking about the economy of the Injora silicones and then the economy of the tire, ignoring the fact that in the summer, it is sometimes 70 degrees Fahrenheit hotter than it is right now. It's not quite triple the temperature in the summer. It is currently about 46 degrees. That's what, like 7 or 8 degrees Celsius, about 75% relative humidity. We're gonna go wide to go around the wetter bit. We'll cut in here. Steering response feels great. Forward drive feels great. These are the things that we have come to expect from S5 offerings. And now we have an S5 offering in a hieroglyphics tread pattern. Rover, Rupture, Chisel, Hammer, Sedona, etc., etc., etc. Which is, I'm still waiting. I check every time the rules update, despite the fact that we don't follow those rules here. I check the Sorka rules routinely to see if any of the Injora's tires have been banned yet. That would be like a badge of honor. If I was making a tire, a badge of honor would be that tire has been banned. Yeah. These are doing it. The forward drive is way up there, and we have that advantage brought about by this particular insert. I have not been wowed by the Class 1 silicones. I've not really been wowed by the bigger ones. They have to be paired to a very specific tire. The 525 Injora silicones in a 2.2 Canyon Trail, pretty great. Pretty great. Not great enough for me to recommend you go out and buy it. If you already have Canyon Trails, though, put those silicones in there. They're real nice. This is, so far, yeah, I think so. This is so far the best yet collaboration between Injora Tire and Injora Silicone. These go together really, really well. Combine that with the fact that we are out here in hyper optimized conditions for the S5, and this should go pretty well. Generally speaking, when we're talking about a tire, we're talking about the 3 C's. Compound, carcass, and composition. Is the carcass the correct thickness for the compound? Is the composition of the lugs, the amount of space occupied by lug versus the amount of space not occupied by lug? Some might call that a void. And that reminds me, the voided. I think these are illegal just because they have a voided lug, and I guess that's not scale, which is nonsense. Oh, okay. Get that bumper off. Get that bumper off. Little hops. I think we're trying to get them clean. Yeah, there we go. These should unload well. We'll see when we get over to teardrop to see surface transition. It's more void than lug, which is generally beneficial if the compound is sticking up. Look how quick those load on the dirt. But it's only superficial. It's right out on the point of the lug. How do we do? Oh, yeah. Absolutely not a problem. We are factoring in the fact that it's almost like a cross cancellation. We have a little bit of a bonus by the weather. Clean rock, cold air, cold rock. But we've also got that little bit of wetness. S5 has not traditionally shown itself to be a compound that is stymied by moisture. In fact, it kind of likes it a little bit. So I'm looking for these little like micro hesitation slips between the lug. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get that a lot because this kind of lug orientation, this composition is sort of omnidirectional. It relies on no chevroning at all of the lug for traction. How can we get over here? Go real slow. If a tire is doing really well, we're going to ask it to do more. Could see the fall back there because we're on very, very low level of throttle input. This harkens back to another tire review where someone said, oh, you weren't giving it enough throttle. Paraphrasing, of course. If the tire doesn't work on low level of throttle input, it's not a rock crawling tire. This is a rock crawling tire. Everything about it is suited to what we're doing right now. And there are many folk that they love themselves a skinny tire. Inside the building right now, sitting on the bench, is the tire o-meter, the size measuring guy that I built. Yeah, I forgot to do it again. HB Rovers are balloons. Ruptures are not skinny. Even in the 2.2 LP rupture, they're not super skinny. Should stay down. Will it fall away? Yeah, that's gonna fall away. Have to give it a little more like that. Had a little too much grip coming in at that line. I was anticipating a little bit of fall away from the rear tire on the low side, and that did not happen. Just kept mashing it up. Yeah, these are really consistent in the grip. Okay, so I came through a little, there we go. Oh, impromptu self-right. Not bad. Out of frame, not bad. Gets another chance, get a little, I am most curious to see that thigh lug get into effect as we get further on. Can I drop it down? No. We've got this. We're gonna experience some problems at the extreme limit because they will not give. We've seen this on other tires before where the lug, it just refuses. Like, we need that low side rear tire. We need that tire to drop down right there. Kind of had to coerce it into dropping down where it was. It's a lot of grip. It's a lot of grip. And I mean, how are we gonna dock a tire for too much grip? Middle of the side hill, Velcro. Getting that stark morning shadow there. Okay, if this can hit this pull with those tires all crusted up on the first try, that will truly be something. I don't foresee these having any issue. Oh, too much breading. Swing around. That front tire in the air like that is immensely encouraging, because that means even crusted up, the rears are pushing enough. Give just that modest amount of input. Right there. Nice. We had to drive through the mosses and the lichens to get here. We were going to get there one way or the other. Now we'll compare that to the dry side. We'll hop. Clean those lugs off a little better. Yeah, as soon as it finds a clean spot, we are mechanical on the rear, pulled through there. Swing it over, yeah. So what it is that it's a tire for conditions, question mark. There's going to be these are going to score high, but there's a real narrow window of serviceability here, I think. I don't know if that's the width. I don't know if it's the compound. We've seen other tires get muddied up. Yeah. There's a lot of silicone in effect here. We've seen a lot of tires get muddied up and still pull this more like they don't get that little drop right there. Like we can do a spin here. Now some of that is the moisture, some of it's the load because, you know, any incline struck with sufficient velocity becomes a ramp. I think in the driest of the dry, we don't have a problem here. Because I saw what it could do over at Daphne's, at Undertaker, under very low levels of throttle input. And I know, there, right there, yeah. So I'm watching what it's not doing as much as I'm watching what it is doing. And those tires are still pretty muddied up. That's pretty good. We're not in a suboptimal condition, but we're also not, at least surface-wise, we're not in a hyper-optimal condition. So I think it's a wash. And much as I wish we could, we can't test every tire in a, look at that rear clearing. It's like a pepper mill. We can't test every tire in a hyper-optimized situation, which would, in my estimation, be about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 50% relative humidity, and clean, dry rock. That would be a laboratory condition. The best we can hope for. Look how loaded those rears still are, and we're doing well. This is as close as we can get to a laboratory because every tire gets subjected to the same test protocol, the same series of protocol. That's really strong for how loaded up that is. We get some pivot. A little wider than I would have liked, but that was probably me a little bit. Watching what it is not doing as much as what it is doing. Got a little gyroscopic effect there. A little weight of the silicone bullied me around a little bit. Can we get any action across the ridge? I want to get a little more left, and I want to get that. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. We're getting into the slipper quite a bit. And that's what I want to see. That means that even if we have a tire that is no longer involved, it has left the chat, the other three are doing work. And I can feel them clearing out because they really start to move with more authority. Very nice. That's all silicone action right there. No giveaway. I'm not going to give it a cut. I'm gonna let it do the work. Did we overcomp or no? No. That side lug is real good. That's real good. That is the best Injora side lug of any of the King Trekker, Swamp Claw, Kraken Claw. S4 pin doesn't have any. XHX pin has a tiny little nibbly nub. This is superior to the XHX pin. And the XHX pin is one that has become rather confounding as time has passed betwixt the test and now. These are doing, again, I think the conditions are a wash. These are doing extraordinarily well. I think in about 3 hours, dead limit will be completely dry. We'll go soft side. What I'm looking for is, well, kind of that. Where we have this issue of over-transfer of, so the weight rocks back. Oh, that was nice. We are quite loaded up, and we kind of shuttled back to the regular side. For running on very sandy, gritted up tire, that's strong. It's not deduction territory. Like right here, I'm not seeing the powered fall away. So we got the one tire way up in the air. And silicones are gonna put you back roll to wheels like almost every time. How long have we been carrying that stick? I think we picked that stick up at the Beast and we've just had it this whole time. Yeah, I can't push this side because I don't think I can clear the lug enough. Not quite. Center cut. Now, not getting jettisoned to the right there, that's good. Had to give it quite a lot of throttle. I was trying to stay up on the rock so that we don't introduce more grit. So I'll go for a crossface back here. Yeah, they're really responsive. It's gotta be that fully independent side lug. You get that little separation between the main lug and the side lug and you can do a lot of work. Yeah, and silicones will keep you rubber side down like a lot. We're just gonna keep dragging that stick with us. Ah, we lost it. Bump is going to be a little unpredictable as we have no directionality to the lug. But we kind of have enough, we'll do this pull side. Yeah, we kind of have enough pull. Yeah. They are predictable. If you put too much bump into it, it's gonna go wild on you. You kind of roll in. You can see it just dragging mud up the face there. I don't know if that's gonna help or hinder this. Oh, we're gonna really get loaded up now. Yeah, okay. We do get a little gyroscope from the silicone inner. These are getting loaded up. Excellent on the whip. And honestly, the whip is going forward to reverse, or sometimes reverse, forward, reverse. That was as predictable as my preferred method of self-righting, which is just, ooh, come on, come on. Okay, steer to the sky, burst to reverse. Nice, nice. From the dead flat side, very good. And those tires are now crumb donuts. I anticipate no issues here. Should be decently packed from the rain. Nice little belly pivot. Let's go straight over right here. Okay, can we get the belly clear? Look at that tire. Well, flatten me out. Come on, flatten me out. Trying to get up through the little groove here. Right there. Yeah, there you go. You got to find the spot. And those tires are loaded. Yeah, really good. Really good. That's that transition I'm looking for. And they are every bit as responsive when fully loaded up. There's a real genuine rupture feel here. There really is. I mean, they've what's the word that I would like to use? Imitated. They've imitated the lug pattern pretty well, and I just call it rupture, even though there are certainly patterns that predate it. The Rover is older, but the Rover is a beach ball. Probably two of these sandwiched side by side. If you ran dualies of these, you'd be about the width of a 2.2 Rover. There's a lot of rupture feel here, and the conditions are leaning towards the wheelhouse of the Klingon. Still don't know how I feel about that name. Trying to get a little more side positioning right there. Very nice. Very nice. I haven't seen any glaring weakness in the performance profile other than the one that's built in, that being S5 compound and its distaste for the summer. And I mean, we'll see. We'll see right now. The wet is going to clear all that schmutz off the tire. I mean, actual wet is going to clear all that schmutz off the tires. And we'll see how these finish up on the scoring. So we roll in. We'll see. Now these are crusted up. I can hear the grind. We're leaving a mess. This is not atypical. Do we have enough? Not precisely. These are far more loaded than most tires usually make it back over here. Yeah, I mean, they're still full. They are full loaded. Honestly, I thought we were going to see a little more clearing. These are packed in pretty good. I can hear the sandy swish. I think these are going to improve. We're going to put water on this, and I think these are going to improve because then as he runs, he's going to clean his tires off. Sometimes that gyroscopic effect is not going to save you. I did get a good look at him upside down though. Those are full. I need to get this extra because I want enough runoff down on the ground to where I can clean these off a little bit. So we'll get right here. I think it worked. If you can do a reverse wheelie on the wet, I think it's doing okay. Guide it back. Yeah. Optimal conditions, question mark. Okay? They don't mind wet. When loaded, they are still fairly competent. But fairly. We have definitely, the lug is fully cleared out now. We have definitely experienced tires in the past that when loaded up, they just don't care. They don't care. I don't think they have as much initial pure bite, but what do you want, right? So you've got initial pure bite, and then you have the ability to apply that bite when you get muddied up. I'll take the lower overall bite for more consistent bite all the way around. So what ordinarily happens with the S5s is I procure a set through whatever means, sent in, purchased. I purchased these in an order in Injora because I needed a bunch of scale hardware, so I just threw these tires in at the same time. And then they usually depart. I send them off somewhere. I send them off to a climb that is more suited to the S5 compound. I do not think that that will be the case with the Klingons. Still don't know how I feel. The name is not growing on me. I'm gonna keep these around because I want to see how these. Oh, that was real good. I want to see how. I want to see how these do when the weather turns against them. So here you have the Injora S5 Klingon. On the leaderboard right now, the XHX pin, I just looked it up, has a 97.8. We are going to revise that score. I looked down the leaderboard, and curiously enough, this tire hit a 96.8. I think conditions have a little bit to do with that. We're going to interpolate both of those scores. The XHX pin has proven not to improve over time. They failed miserably, some might say catastrophically, while fitted to one of the vehicles in Crawlympics, and those tires were replaced immediately. Competition series like that are very helpful in determining the strengths and weaknesses of a platform and configuration. And the S5 XHX pin didn't do it. The XHX pin is being demoted from 97.8 to 97.0, which will tie it with the J-Concepts Rupture and a whole fleet of a slew of other tires that are at 97.0. Because over time, we have seen that the XHX pin does not improve over time. The S4 remains the S4 comp pen remains the most recommended Injora tire because it works under the broadest range of conditions. It is most receptive to changes in inserts. It's very inexpensive. It's a pin. It's a basic pin. So this tire is going to get a bump from its 96.8 to 97 even. So this and the XHX pin are going to sit side by side. Now, that said, I would recommend the Klingon, name notwithstanding, over the XHX pin 10 times out of 10. Because the XHX pin does what a pin does. It has the drive of a pin. And a pin is going to be the most forward drive you're going to get from any sort of tire when ascending rock and maneuvering on rock. That's just the way pins work. They have omnidirectional grip. They don't care about anything else. Because a pin is tall and thin in most cases, you can manipulate those pins. I'm still waiting. We haven't seen a proper step pin yet. We haven't seen a proper rock crawling step pin yet, which I think that's what I'm waiting for. The Klingon would be my number 2 recommendation in Injora tires. First, the S4 comp pen, then the Klingon, and then it's kind of this gray area, the new 97 score of the XHX pin notwithstanding. It's my scoreboard. On my protocol, on my rules, I can change the scores because new information is gleaned over time. It's like why I never give anything a 10. A 10 does not exist because that would be the tire that can do all things all the time on all vehicles. And that's not a thing that happens. It doesn't exist. I did say that the Hot Body Sedona is 99 plus, but it has a range of fitments that is fairly small. You're going to be putting it on something Class 3-esque anyway. So, the Klingon I want to flip the scores. I mean, I want to put the XHX pin below this. But in terms of drive and maneuverability and pure performance, I would put them on par with each other. I do not believe, based on S5 compound and the conditions in which they were tested, that either of them are worth more score than a 97. I think that 97 is still an asterisk score for both, as your results may vary. You may live in the climate of perfect condition for S5 compound, and if you are, you lucky dog. But I'm sitting outside in shorts in the winter, and it's already into the 50s now, between when we started and now, and it's drying out. It's drying out. So the Cling On is subjectively the most capable tire Injora has made yet. This is the best one they've made. Asterisk. I still say the S4 comp pin is the way to go because it will work more often. You don't have to worry about the conditions. You're not tuning your carburetor in tire form. So, take that as you will. Questions, comments, and concerns in the comments section below. Thank you so much for joining us for this one. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. In between now and then, please, one and all, do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We will see you again here from the canyon. When we see you, you will see these again. We will pop these out again when he's sitting out on that rock right there with the open trench sign in the background. But instead of 52 degrees, it's 102 degrees. And then, if I remember to do it, we will see what's what. So, come on back for that, if you feel like it.